evening, everybody, and welcome back once again to the Dixie Racing Report. Glad that y'all tuned in to be a part of our discussion tonight. We've got a great show lined up for you. And first things first, we want to say a big thank you to our friends here at the Rescue Smokehouse Grill, Raymond and Amy Poore and their staff getting it done here all over again. Award-winning cooks here. It's a great restaurant. You got to come and check it out. The food is outstanding. They give you plenty of it. Very affordable. They're going to be open until 10 o'clock tonight. So if you're working a little bit late, maybe picking up the kids after a school function, practice, or something like that, head on over to Exit 75 on Interstate 75. You can come as you are. They've got an outstanding menu. Maybe your children or somebody in your family, they're not into barbecue. They've got plenty on that menu to take care of everybody in your family. Come on out and check them out here at the Rescue Smokehouse Grill. And, of course, a big thank you to our sponsors here on the Dixie Racing Report, Mr. Mike Hurd and our friends at 5 Star Hyundai, 650 Russell Parkway in Warner Robins, Georgia. Big thank you to him and the entire 5 Star family of dealerships. We certainly appreciate their support. Also, Mr. Bill Cheek and our friends down at Heartland EMS. These folks are celebrating 20 years in service, taking good care of all the people down in Middle Georgia. And our latest addition to our list of sponsors, the good folks at Carroll Sausage and Country Store. They're located just up the road about 7 miles, man. Great, great store. You got to go check it out. I know you've seen it from the interstate. Very accessible, very easy to get there. They're open Monday through Saturday, 7 to 7. They've got some of the finest meats as well as an all-out grocery store. They have RV parking. Lots of good things going on down there. Thank you to Mr. Johnny Walker, Mr. Jason Black, and, of course, the owner, Mr. Hugh Hardy Jr., for coming on board with us here at the Deep Dixie Racing Report. We sure do appreciate all of the help that we get from our sponsors. My name is Todd Sharon. I am the track announcer at Cochran Motor Speedway, and I'll be your host tonight as always, joined by my good buddy Brian Hester, hardest man, working man in racing, running up and down the road, always trying to get it done. Also, Mr. Dale Hall. Dale, the Destroyer Hall, back there behind the camera. He's our producer, and we can't do it without him. And I think Dale's done got tickled tonight. Dale, we need you to straighten up, man. We need you to be on board with us, make sure that everything. I don't reckon he's been into the barefoot over there in the cool. Man, I don't know, man. I mean, Dale, I've been sipping on something. I don't know. I'm just saying, Dale Dog Pound Hall, he's known to get out there and do a little something every now and then. But anyway, we're glad that y'all tuned in with us here. And as always, we're going to begin our show. And I think we really do need to pray now, Brian. Yeah, we do. We believe on the Deep Dixie Racing Report. We believe on deepdixieracing.com. We believe in faith, family, and country here. We don't apologize for that. We are not ashamed of that. We believe in our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. We believe that he's coming back soon. We also support and believe in our servicemen and women all over this world that are making sacrifices daily to take care of us and allow us to be able to do what we're doing. So at this time, wherever you're at, I'm going to ask you, if you will, to please pause and join us as we open up our show with a word of prayer. Shall we pray? Father, we thank you once again for the opportunity to come out and to have some fellowship, to be able to talk a little bit about racing, to be reunited with some friends and to make some new friends. And as always, we pray for all of those in our racing family. I know there are those that are recovering from surgeries and sicknesses and things like that. And whoever they are and wherever they're at, I'm just asking that you will touch them and give them relief and give them peace in their body. And Lord, we pray for our servicemen and women all over this world as well as their families. I know that they are deeply missed, and they are doing such an honorable thing to take care of us and to protect us so that we can have the freedom to do this. And we pray for them. We ask that you bring them home safely and that you bring them home soon. And Lord, we just pray that you'll use this show as a tool and as a way to reach people. Help us to be able to share the gospel when we can. And Lord, just continue to bless us. And we give you all the praise and all the thanks. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, at this time, we are going to honor America with the playing of our national anthem. God bless America, and welcome back once again to the Deep Dixie Racing Report. We're glad that you tuned in to be with us tonight. We've got a great show lined up. We had a lot of stuff that we did last week. We tried something a little bit new, and as always, we want to try to keep our show interesting. We want to keep it fresh. We want to do things that you guys want to hear and things that you want to see. And we took a little different course last week. We brought in some female members of our racing family, and we got great response from that. And a big thank you to all of those that joined us last Thursday night, either coming into the restaurant and being here live with us, or those that joined us by phone. It was a big, big hit. And because of that, we're going to continue it over in tonight's show. And just before we turn it over to Brian, and he gives us a recap of everything that happened this past weekend and the things that will be going on this coming weekend, let me give you a rundown of who we got. Coming up this weekend, Friday and Saturday night at Sonoya Speedway, going to be a great, great two-night show of racing. They've got the USCS sprint cars that will be coming. If you've never seen the USCS sprint cars, guys, you need to go to Sonoya Speedway either Friday or Saturday night. Go check them out. They're going to have other racing as well there. And one of the young ladies that will be joining us tonight is 22-year-old Morgan Turpin. She is from Cordova, Tennessee, and she's one of the drivers, one of the competitors on the USCS circuit. And Morgan's going to be calling in just a few minutes. And then we're also going to be joined by another female driver, Miss Jordan Fighter. We appreciate them taking time out of their busy schedule to come and be with us tonight. And we're very, very happy to have a very special lady. Her daughter joined us last Thursday night on the Deep Dixie Racing Report. If you didn't see our discussion with Morgan Ford, you need to go back and look at the archive. I got a lot of feedback from that. Morgan was just, she was just a very, very spirited young lady. I love talking to her. She was so funny. And her mother, Karen Fordham, is going to be with us tonight. Karen was unable to be here with us last week, and she is the mother of one of our junior enduro drivers down at Cochran Motor Speedway, Will Fordham. He's 16 years old, doing a great job, a few races under his belt, and he is really catching on quick, right up front, challenging for the win pretty much every week. And his mama, Karen, is going to be coming and joining us live after the break. And then toward the bottom of the second hour, our plan is to speak with Libby Nasworthy. And that Nasworthy family, a name that is well known here in Middle Georgia, even over in East Alabama. These folks have been around racing a long, long time. And we can't wait to get to them and to talk to them. And again, thanks to all of you that have tuned in. We have so many positive comments and results and people talking, man. They love the Deep Dixie Racing Report. I think we've been doing this for about 5 months, between 5 and 6 months. And we took a week off here just a few weeks back, and a lot of people noticed that, and it really gave us an idea of how many people enjoy watching. We appreciate your support. We really do, and we're doing this for you guys, and we hope that you enjoy what you're seeing. If you want to make a suggestion, if you've got a comment, maybe a question, simply hit us up on Facebook. Dale keeps a real close eye on that, and we will do what we can to try to fulfill your requests. But right now, we're going to shift gears a little bit. Brian Hester, who has been to, how many racetracks did you tell me you've been to over the years, Brian?
It's like over 80.
Wow, over 80 tracks, and that's from here to way out in the Midwest, around Nebraska and Colorado and all those places. Before we get you going here, what is the farthest you've ever been, Brian, to a dirt track?
I'd have to say in Minnesota.
Okay.
Wisconsin area, Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, Cedar Lake area. Had made it out to a track in North Dakota one time, right at the edge, but it got rained out or something.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. That was way back around, I'm going to say 96, 97. That's when I started back truck driving. So draw a line from there down to Texas back this way, as far up as the edge of Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Pittsburgh Motor Speedway would be the far northeast. Planning on hopefully in October, this will be the last year for the Super Dirt Car Series and their Speed Week at Syracuse, New York on the Old Mile. This is supposed to be the last year, so I'm kind of shooting for that. I've kind of held off on some of the racing that we hit every weekend. I've
Mhm.
kind of held off some of that and all, and from here on out, probably just mostly some bigger events and stuff, and I'll go some local cockering from here and there.
Right.
But right now, I'd like to kind of, even if I didn't make it, but Saturday, I'd kind of like to go to World 100. It's been a few years since I've been up there.
Right.
Probably just drive up, take it in, then turn around and drive as far as I can, get a motel room, and ease
A
back
red
home.
eye trip.
Yeah,
Sometimes that's what you got to do.
But that's pretty much done pretty much know that my state race weekend is nailed down because of the All-Star race is going to be there. So everybody's going to be there. A lot of people talking about that right now, about that All-Star race.
Yeah.
That is little grumbling about it because it was kind of added in right before the $10,000 race, kind of in the middle of the points. But hey, it's racing. Most of those guys race those cars every week, so I don't care what it is. First time I hauled my race car, I bought Mitch Fulford's big trailer, and we didn't make it to Statesboro, and the cable broke and thing like went out the back door. So you can tear it up any way you possible.
That's right. That's
but
right.
Anyway, that's
yeah, man. If you're just tuning in, we are just getting started here on this episode of the Dixie Racing Report. Brian Hester going to give us a rundown. And Brian, before we actually get into some of that heavier duty, detailed stuff about what's going on, there's a couple of things that I want you to address. I think probably everybody knows by now, and if I'm not mistaken, this actually happened, I think, last Thursday night, if I'm right, out in Knoxville, Iowa. Kevin Swindell, if you saw the replay, it didn't really look to be that severe of a wreck. He did get up into the fence, but Kevin got banged up pretty good. And tell us what you know about that.
Right now, what Sammy and Amy's been tweeting is mostly was getting him more or less stabilized, getting him down and getting him checked out. Evidently, there had to be some paralysis. Had to be for them to go as far. He's evidently got some broken vertebrae. He does have a spinal cord injury, but for right now, they've talked like the prognosis looks good down the road, but it's going to be a long journey for him.
Yeah, anytime that you have something that involves that back and that spinal cord, and I tell you, man, when I first saw it, and I think it may have been put up on Deep Dixie Racing is where I might have saw it. I was very, very concerned just looking at some of the comments, and anytime you've got to bring the helicopter in and things like that. But I did see that Kevin did tweet out, something to the effect, I appreciate the support. I've got a long road ahead or something like that. But for those of you that are tuning in, we're talking about Kevin Swindell, who had what didn't look to be that big of a wreck. They were actually coming off of turn 4, and I saw 2 angles, and both of them was about a 30-second video. And about when they were getting ready to fire, it appeared that the wheels touch, and it just kind of launched him.
Yeah, he just launched up, bounced off the fence, come right back down. It didn't tumble like you have seen where they'll just slam, go through the fence out there.
Right.
Gary Bogan, a friend of mine from Memphis, he had actually posted first, and I saw it, and I said, well, it didn't look too bad. And then I started seeing some more posts like, oh, this is serious.
Right.
And they had shut it all down for a little while to get him out of there. So then, it was pretty obvious that it was not just a small accident, but, it did come down pretty hard, and it stopped abruptly, like that. So, and it was when it hit the back of the car and hit real hard and stopped. Yeah. So that's a lot of energy going up his body right through there. Those cars are very stiff anyway. They're not like the late models as far as, them moving around. They're on a torsion bar stops and stuff like that. Basically, most of the handling runs off the right rear to stagger and the air. That's pretty much it. And,
it's easy to say, looking at it from a distance, it didn't appear to be that bad. But if you felt the impact, I'm sure it was, and before we switch gears and talk about Michael Waltrip Racing, I did see today, and Dale, I think you posted this up, that there was a couple of teenage kids that kind of snuck into Lime Rock, got a hold of a couple go-karts, and I have heard that they are not life-threatening injuries, but it appears that there were 2 15-year-olds. I believe one was a young lady, one was a young man, and they got banged up pretty good. And of course, that is something that you never ever want to see. But our thoughts and prayers. I have no idea what their names are. I'm sure you can go and Google it and probably easily find out. But we do need to keep Kevin Swindell and these two teenagers that was involved.
Shout out to Donnie Schatz, wins his 9th Knoxville Nationals. So he's right on the roll, and I think he somewhere up there around Oskaloosa, he reeled him off another win, I think Monday, Tuesday night. So
wow.
Man, that cat right there, when they talk about Bloomquist, talk about Davenport, so I want you to roll his season back and go back and look at what he's done so far. I mean, he's in the 70% win. And look, they race every night of the week somewhere. And
with the competition level,
yes,
the way it is, that is absolutely incredible. Yes. When you look at the fields and some of these top-notch marquee name drivers that go for 2 and 3 years and never even get a win.
Right. I mean, even he went into Pennsylvania sprint week here a while back and had a real good week. I think the only thing that somebody was able to, I think one of the locals was able to beat him at Williams Grove or something like that. But still, to do what he does, and Kendra won on one of them roles. Swindell's been on one of them. Wolfgang went on one time.
Right.
Bidenshield has been on one, but he's reeled it together for basically 10 years now. He's been unstoppable. So.
Absolutely. If you're just tuning in, we are having our opening segment here on the Deep Dixie Racing Report. Again, we are going to be speaking to several of our female racing family members. Morgan Turpin, Jordan Fighter, Karen Fordham is here with us at the restaurant. We're going to be talking to her a little bit after the break, and we hope to be able to speak with Libby Nasworthy as well. We appreciate your feedback. It was a good time last week, and we decided we wanted to carry over. Another thing that I know, man, it just kind of made my heart hurt. We interviewed David Reagan back a few weeks ago. By now, it's probably been like a few months, and it was such exciting news, man. David Reagan, he had filled in for Kyle Busch, did a great job over there at Joe Gibbs Racing, and then the news came down that David was going to get a shot to be in one of those Michael Waltrip racing cars, and it just goes to show how quick things can change. And then, of course, we get the news, I guess, that came down yesterday that Clint Boyer and David Reagan, pretty much this is going to be the end of Michael Waltrip Racing as we know it. And, of course, Boyer has been given the clearance to start negotiating for 2016. Not sure where this is going to lead David Reagan, but you never, ever want to see anything like that, especially the scale they were on at one point. They were the original Toyota team, weren't they, Brian? I think they were. What else can you tell us about that?
Well, I think that thing started going downhill after the Chase controversy about when they
Richmond.
Did the sandbagging and all and everything, whatever that I can't remember how that went down, but I think it's went down there. You got one of your main investors is a bank investor. I think he's wanting to get in with Ganassi and some of them now. So just the backside of politics of that racing. It's if your dog's not in the hunt, it don't take long.
Absolutely.
The funds can leave, and
absolutely.
They've lost one of their primary sponsors, and Napa left at the first year. Last year was Dale. Napa's gone,
and he will now be with Chase Elliott, right?
Chase Elliott now.
So those wheels are always turning. I mean, whether it be good or whether it be bad, we have seen. And I'm going to tell you something. Michael Waltrip Racing, they weren't always a team to be reckoned with throughout the tenure of their time in business. But there were times and there were tracks that those people were absolutely the favorites, and and got a couple big wins along the way.
Clint's won some races, and Brian Bickers won some races. So it's not like they wasn't getting wins. And I try to tell people that's hard to win them races. I mean, it's an enduro event. You got to have. I mean, everything's got to fit just right. And the pressure them folks are under, I just wouldn't ever even want to walk down that path at all.
Me either. Well, Brian, tell us a little bit about what went on this past weekend give us a snapshot of what we're hoping to see. And by now, guys, before we even came on the air live, we were talking amongst ourselves. And Brian, once again, Mother Nature, man, she has stood up a little earlier. Yeah. And there's been a couple big shows that have been affected. Tell us about that.
Of course, our All-Star race that's associated with Dixie, with the All-Star Series, it got rained out pretty early, Saturday afternoon. They called it, and they had rain all over the area down there, so you really can't blame,
right,
for doing that. You got guys coming from halfway across the state now to run that series. Need more. Southern Thunder Series did have a bunch of rain. It did get stretched out until the wee hours of the morning, but my old buddy Rhett Carter from Waycross picks up a good win in the Mac 44 car. Bunch of good guys. I've known all them guys a long time. A lot of my old go-kart racing buddies. Kelly Walker with a good run. Cale Simons and Cole Exon and Travis Carter was in there. So I think they got it in, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, Dale, something like that.
Now, is this Rhett's first win this year with the series? The reason I'm asking, because I know I talked to Ben, and if there was a time there when they had run something like a total of 18 races, and there were 16 different winners.
Yes, yeah, he would have to be number 19 or number 20 now. I guess he would be a different winner in that series. I don't think Rhett is one of them. And I'm sorry, Rhett, if I'm just now this year starting to pay attention. So, but good win for them.
Right. And shout out to Ben Sumner, man. I'm going to tell you that Southern Thunder late model series, that thing has really gotten some traction, and everywhere they go, they put on a great show. So, you ever get a shot to see the Southern Thunder late models, you need to go check them out.
And there's some things coming up for them next year that I think, Ben's talked about a little bit. I think it's going to push them a little bit further up toward the peak. Maybe where they can pick up some more cars. I think there's some talk. It's not definite, but some issues with the engines as far as helping them out for reliability. It's like the Sealy boys, Kit and Tristan, they have terrible, engine luck this year, and Cecil had one. Now, Cecil was winging a lame duck over there, and he told me it was a major miracle he made it over at Golden Isle that last time we was over there. So I think they get some of that done. I think everybody's on the same page with it as far as that's what they want to go with the engine. So I think that's going to help a lot.
And on that note, before we get off of that, Scott Sumner, who is Ben's brother, he's our race director, and of course on a race night I get there a little early when I can, and I try to visit with my teammates before things get cranked up and get crazy. And I certainly will not even begin to divulge, but there is some exciting things that are going to be happening with the Southern Thunder late model series. And everything that I have heard is nothing but good news, man. So I'm sure before long that there's going to be some big news coming down about that everybody's going to enjoy hearing, man. In a world where economy and people are closing down, things are happening, when you get a good boost and you get some good support, man, that's always a good thing. So
we'll go ahead and let's see, as far as finishes and stuff, we'll go ahead and talk about CT 525 series, the Chevrolet Super Late Model Series, Chevrolet Performance Super Late Model Series. John Owenby, good guy, local guy from Tennessee, picks up his first victory, and at the newly revamped I-75 Speedway there in Sweetwater, Tennessee. Ryan King with another good run, and there's our winner down there at Cochran, and Riley Hickman was third. Looked like they had a pretty tight race. They swapped it back and forth. I think Tim Boucher had got up in there in the mix at the end. My buddy Jeff Smith, I think he turned over during the night. That was just something I'd read just then. So anyway, that series is another series that's growing. I'm still kind of circling it as to where it's headed. I'm keep hearing some more cars that's wanting to head into that. Even have heard some more Georgia cars wanting to get into that series. Jordy's running it now. Montana Dudley's running it now. I don't know. I don't, hold me to it, but I've heard some other guys that's really.
I'll tell you what, man, that race that the Neesmith late models put on at Cochran, a few weeks back at our place. That was
Yeah.
beyond. I mean, it was the kind of racing that you see just every so often. It was
Yeah.
incredible. And if you ever get a chance to see the Neesmiths, man,
Yeah.
again, and these guys go a little bit of everywhere, and it looks like they're even going to add some dates next year. You got to check them out.
Yeah.
You got
and
to.
there's possibility, there's talk, and don't hold me to it, but there might be another one back at Cochran.
Yeah.
We don't know yet, but
I hope so.
yeah,
I really do.
I do. I hope we do. I'd like to see the CT 525 series come in there. That's the one that's a little bit more than the 604 car as far as power and everything. But anyway, rolling along, you had Neesmith did cancel for the 10,000 win race this weekend. That's their call. But I talked to Daryl Corson. They're still going to have racing Saturday night. I think they're going to pay a little bit more than the regular late model, but it'll be a full show for them.
So Neesmith, basically, this was a weather issue.
Yeah, and we discussed it before the show started. I'd say better than 75 to 80% of those cars come from North Georgia, North Alabama, Central Alabama, Tennessee. Most of them from Tennessee, that Chattanooga to Knoxville area. So I can understand. It's the same deal that Ray Cook has to deal with. The Ultimate Series has to deal with when you start getting right out and you start stretching it out 2-3 hours further than what you usually go. I can understand it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Golden Isle too, man. That weather down there, it can literally something can pop up, and I'm talking about 10 minutes.
Yeah, and it don't matter what time of the year.
Right, and it can wash it away. I mean, to the point you cannot get it back. But I understand that.
And just like now, Lucas Oil, Lucas Oil has one of their biggest Tennessee races tonight up at Bulls Gap, the Sizzler. I think that's about a 20-year-old race right there. They've rained out for the night. So that's it. As far as that's just hitting the highlights, got the video I made Sunday and everything. The Edge and Sharp protest both were legal. Both were legal. I was still getting messages about that Wednesday. I don't know, people understand the difference between legal and illegal, but legal. And Mr. Jerry said they was way within legal.
Yeah.
So, everybody was good to go.
That was another one, man. We're getting ready to call Morgan Turpin here. If you're just tuning in, thank you for joining us on the Deep Dixie Racing Report. Just kind of wrapping up the week that was and a few things that are coming up. I know we're going to be racing at Cochran. I know East Alabama going to be in action, and pretty much everyone else in our local area. Things have been altered a little bit, mainly down at Golden Isles with the Neesmith guys not wanting to have their people come so far and then it rain out. So, but they are racing as of now, Lord willing, down at Golden Isle, and we'll give you more information about that makeup day. And well, Brian, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it. We're going to see if we can get a hold of a young lady. Her name is Morgan Turpin, and Morgan is 22 years old from Cordova, and she has recently started driving a sprint car with the USCS, and going to be real interesting to talk to a young lady. Morgan, Pastor Todd Sharon, Deep Dixie Racing Report. How are you?
Hey, great. How are you?
We're doing good. If you're just tuning in, we're on the line right now with Miss Morgan Turpin. And Morgan, I know that you have got a big weekend of racing coming up just up the road from us here at Sonoya Speedway. First of all, give everybody that's tuning in tonight, if you can, just give us an idea of what they may see as far as the sprint car portion of the program Friday and Saturday night at Sonoya.
Well, like you said, we race tomorrow and Saturday. We haven't actually been on the new track since they moved the walls, and they did a couple other different things to the racetrack. So it should be exciting because none of us have even seen it since they have done whatever they have done, which I say is drastic. So I'm excited. I always like Sonoya. They're going to see good racing. I think last year, people won from 10th, 11th place. So they'll be seeing some good racing, that's for sure.
Wow. Morgan, Dale and I were talking, Dale Hall, our producer, and I understand that you started racing go-karts, when you were about 12 years old. Now you're 22 years old. Give us kind of the steps that you took to end up in open-wheel racing with the sprint cars.
Well, I started racing go-karts when I was 12, and I never really thought it would be anything much more than what I did on the weekend. But as anybody will tell you, once you get into racing, it's an addiction.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought that, I'd probably just race go-karts, this and that, whatever. Well, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, so sprint car racing was really big back in the day around. I mean, it's still big now, but it was really big back in the day there. And I'd go over to the local tracks, and I'd watch sprint car racing, and they started this 305 series, which is a 360 car with a smaller engine and without the wings.
Mm-hmm.
So I ran wingless 305. Well, I got to doing that for a while, and I ran into some hardships and stuff, and Terry Gray started helping me and
mm-hmm.
started watching me race, and we put some sponsorships together, and he put me a car together, and I started racing 360s. Now it all just kind of took off. I never really thought it would be like this, but I'm glad it is, and now I'm working to get into a development program for NASCAR. So it's definitely taken a good road for sure.
Joined right now on the line by Miss Morgan Turpin. She is one of the competitors with the USCS Sprint Car Series. That's United Sprint Car Series. And Morgan, first of all, I got to give you props, because that has got to be some of the most nerve-wracking yet exciting racing that I've ever watched. And I can only imagine what it would be like when you were actually in that cockpit. And you mentioned Terry Gray. Now, I don't know Terry personally, but over the years, I've kind of followed the USCS, and Terry has been a big winner. He's had a lot of success. How did you and Terry get hooked up?
Well, he raced over at Riverside a lot, and that's where I started watching. I'd go over there, and I'd scrape the mud off them guys' cars, and then I started racing, and they kind of, took me under their wing and was trying to teach me, and we just clicked. I mean, he was like my best friend from the time I started racing till now. I mean, he was like a second dad to me. So our personalities clicked. We work well together. I mean, I've had some other opportunities, and this seat is the seat I have now in the 10M is just it's steady, and it stays. There's no people call like seat swapping or musical chairs or whatever. Like, I'm guaranteed this ride. It's comfortable. I get to go after I leave the shops. I get to go home. I get to go home after the races. I get to go to my own house. So it's just everything about it that just work well together. Everything works.
Yeah, it sounds like you got a great situation. We're joined on the line right now by sprint car driver Morgan Turpin. And Morgan, if you can, give us an idea. Here in Middle Georgia, I love sprint car racing. As a matter of fact, everybody that we talk to, we love it. And we've actually got a friend that has started putting together the beginning stages of hopefully maybe getting a little series started here, an affordable series. But as far as the USCS goes, tell us some of the tracks that you guys race at, and how far do y'all venture out?
Well, we race all down here in Georgia, but I mean, we go anywhere from what me and Terry do. As far as we go from anywhere from Texas to North Carolina.
Wow.
So anywhere, in between there is what we have been this year so far. We raced at Tampa earlier this year, then we raced at Beaumont a couple weekends ago. So it's just wherever we can race, whenever we can find a race, we're going.
I hear you. Morgan, right now, as it stands in a very competitive series, I understand that you're third in the points. Has this to date been your best season so far?
It has not. I'm third in the Southern points, but just a couple weeks ago, I was leading the national points and the Mid-South points. So it hasn't been the best year. I can think about 5 off the top of my head that I've had yanked out from under me from lap cars or something breaking in the last 5 laps that I'm guaranteed had it won. So it's just been a rough year, but I just take it with a grain of salt and move on. But definitely not my best year by far. But, sometimes you have those kind of years, and hopefully the second part of the season we'll get over it.
Yeah. How far between now and the end of the season, Morgan? How deep into the fall do you guys run as far as points wise?
About the second week in November will be our last race with the Sprint Car Series.
Okay. We're joined on the line right now by a 22-year-old female driver, Morgan Turpin. She is a competitor on the USCS Sprint Car Series, and these folks are going to roll into Sonoya Speedway. You're going to have two chances to see them, tomorrow night, and then they'll be back again on Saturday night. And I have had a chance to see the USCS drivers run. It's been a while, and, man, it's some of the best racing that you can ever imagine. Morgan, if you could, when you got into a sprint car, and I know that you mentioned that you got into a non-wing to begin with, a little less horsepower than a 360, how long did it really take for you to get comfortable in that car? I know that is a ton of difference than any other race car out there.
Honestly, I don't really remember, there being a time where I was just like, yeah, I've got it. It was just like I got in it and I couldn't go fast enough. So, and that's how it is with me now. It's never fast enough. Mm-hmm. In anything I do, anywhere from going to ride go-karts, at putt-putt on Friday night or Thursday night to racing sprint cars, I can't go fast enough in anything. So, for me, personally, it didn't take me any time to, I never said, oh gosh, this is so much faster. How is it going to feel? It's just anything you want me to drive, I get in and I'll go fast. Obviously,
Gotcha.
I do my best to hit the lines and stuff, but, that's definitely my mindset.
You being a female driver in a predominantly male sport, how do your fellow competitors, how do you see them and how do they treat you? How does that work out?
Well, most of the time, especially with the older guys, I treat them with respect. They treat me with respect. They drive me clean, I drive them clean. If people want to get nasty, then you got to get nasty back. It's just the way it is. But the older guys, they seem to just, they want respect. I want respect. I had to earn it. So they're good. The younger guys got a little bit more problem with it, but, that's their problem. I just go out there and I race my race and take what the car will give me and try to win races.
Got it. We're joined on the line right now by Morgan Turpin. Morgan is a competitor on the USCS Sprint Car Series. And Morgan, one of the things that we always try to do here on the Deep Dixie Racing Report, we always try our best to give our drivers an opportunity to give their sponsors some exposure. We know that right now, and pretty much it ain't just now, it's always been the case. If you're going to go racing, you got to have some help. It takes a lot to go racing, and you have, by your own admission, described your situation as a comfortable, steady ride. Give us an idea of the folks that help you out as far as sponsorship-wise, and even those that help with turning the wrenches in the shop.
Oh, yeah, well, it's just me and Terry most of the time in the shop. We travel together and work in the shop together. We both prefer not to have anybody else work on them just because it's just we got our way and that's the way it works. But KTV Motorsports and Don Berry Construction, they've really been helping us out this year. There's never enough sponsorship, so it has been tough. Terry takes a lot out of his pocket to allow me to race, but it's been good. And Engler Machine and Tool, he's really helped us out this year. So, and for the product, sponsors, K&N, KFC, all those guys make it possible. So, really everybody that's on our race cars makes it work. It doesn't ever seem to be enough, but anybody that races knows how that goes.
Absolutely. We got a question, Morgan. What chassis are you running?
I run a J&J chassis.
Okay.
Motor builder.
Motor builder.
Terry Gray at Westmore.
Okay. Is this a full-time gig for you, Morgan?
It is. I do this full-time. Like I said earlier, I'm trying to get into the development program. I'm kind of getting to that stage in my life where racing will always be part of my life, but at the same time, it might be time to put this on the back burner for maybe do it only 10 or 12 times a year and and get a real job. But I just graduated from the University of Memphis in May, and I'm fixing to try to get my MBA at Florida International University. So I really want to do this the rest of my life, but until some more money comes in, it's not going to be possible.
Well, it sounds like you got a good thing going, Morgan, and we sure do appreciate you taking time out to join us on the Deep Dixie Racing Report. Our best to you, not only this weekend, but throughout the rest of this season and your entire career. We appreciate it. They are going to be racing at Sonoya Speedway back-to-back nights, Friday and Saturday night. Go check them out. Yes, Dale.
Any possibility that Brian and myself may be up there this week?
Yeah, I actually thought about that too, Morgan. We were just saying that that we may try to get up there at least one of those 2 nights and take in a little bit of racing. And of course, we do what we do at Cochran. So it'd probably be tomorrow for me, but I would sure love to see it. But again, Morgan, thank you so much for joining us. And man, go out there and get them tomorrow. That is Morgan Turpin, 22-year-old driver from Cordova, Tennessee, right up around Memphis. She'll be competing tomorrow night at Sonoya Speedway, Friday and Saturday night, as a matter of fact. Female driver out there getting it done. All right, Morgan, thank you very much, sis.
All right, I sure do appreciate y'all having me.
All right. God bless you. And ladies and gentlemen, that is Morgan Turpin. And I tell you what, man, to be up there mixing it up and to listen to her talk, she pretty much just come right out and said that she is in a winning car. I mean, I didn't take that as being arrogant or cocky, but she said there's been a few little things, racing stuff.
Yeah.
Lap traffic, this happens, that happens. And she had probably 5 races that felt sure she could have won. And I'm going to tell you something. For you to win on that series, that's no small thing. That is a grind, man. If you're just tuning in, thank you for joining us on the Deep Dixie Racing Report. We just wrapped up a conversation with Miss Morgan Turpin, and we are going to see if we can get a hold of Miss Jordan Fighter right now. Again, thank you to our sponsors, Mike Hurd with 5-Star Hyundai, Bill Cheek with Heartland EMS, Mr. Hugh Hardy and his staff with Carol Sausage and Meats in their country store. They got 4 locations that you can check them out at. I'll be telling you a little bit more about that as we go on into our racing program tonight.
Hello?
Jordan, Pastor Todd Sharon with the Deep Dixie Racing Report. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
We're doing great. If you're just tuning in to our show tonight, we are beginning our discussion with Miss Jordan Fighter. And Jordan, give us a snapshot about your racing. How did you get started? Where are you racing now? And what division do you race in?
Well, I've been racing crate late models for 3 years now, and I started off around 8 years old racing go-karts. I moved into a mini stock, which is a little 4-cylinder car.
Mm-hmm.
But it all really began with my grandma, my nanny. She was a female race car driver.
Okay.
And she run like the hobby stock cars, kind of that type. And then my mom, she jumped in when they all run the Lady Pure Stocks out of Oakport Speedway. And it's kind of just been passed down to me. My papa's done it. My cousin races. My whole family's just gone down the line, and I've been racing now.
And how old are you, Jordan?
I'm 17.
17. Now, I think last week when we were talking, does that make you a senior in high school? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I'm in my last year.
Got you. And
Ask her about her boyfriend.
okay, Dale Hall, our producer, he's wanting me to ask you about your boyfriend.
My boyfriend?
Yeah.
Hey, yeah. Hello?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay. Yeah, we race together, actually, and we've been racing together for 3 years now, and it's interesting, especially when we're on the track together.
So who is your boyfriend?
Brandon Yawn.
Okay. Brandon Yawn.
Okay. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, we're joined on the line right now by 17-year-old crate late model driver, Miss Jordan Fighter. And Jordan, you talked about, I heard you mention Oglethorpe. Where would you consider your home track, and how far do you venture out to run your late model?
Well, we every weekend or every other weekend we stay home around Oglethorpe, and we travel off to Screven and Swainsboro, and we used to travel with the Southern Outlaw series and run while Brandon run an Outlaw
Yeah.
Super Street car, but we've been staying at home. I got me a new Warrior car, and we've been doing a lot of testing for the past few months.
How long did it take you to get comfortable in that late model car? Is it something that came pretty quickly to you, or did you have to really figure it out?
When I went from the mini stock to the late model, it was the shifting was my thing. Getting it's completely backwards from a regular transmission. And but when I jumped in the newer car that we just got a few months ago, it just it clicked. I was just able to get it on, and we're getting better and better each week.
Yeah. We're joined on the line right now by Miss Morgan Turpin, or excuse me, Jordan Fighter. I'm sorry, Jordan. I just got off the phone talking with Morgan. Jordan Fighter, she's 17 years old. She calls Oglethorpe Speedway her home track, although they do venture out and run a little bit at Screvens, Waynesboro, and other places. Jordan, you mentioned that your boyfriend, Brandon Yawn, who runs that Southern Outlaw Super Street Series, that's Bobby and Kim Piper Series. We know them well. They race with us at Cochran, too. When you guys put on your racing hats, what kind of information and what kind of conversations do you guys have about that? I'm just curious about that.
Between me and my boyfriend?
Yeah.
Well, I see it as he ain't my boyfriend on the racetrack. It's kind of fair game for everyone.
Okay, I got you.
We encourage each other, but on the track, I go to all his races. He comes to mine, but it's fair game when you get out there. There ain't no friends on the racetrack.
Any bad blood so far?
Who beats who?
Yeah.
Any
bad blood yet?
No bad blood yet. He's probably the only driver for the past 3 years that I've been racing has never touched me on the racetrack.
With him being in a super street and you being in a crate late model, how often do y'all get to race each other?
Well, he has his own late model that he runs more often now.
Okay.
And but we don't really, a few times a year, probably 5-6 times a year usually, unless he runs a full season out of Oglethorpe.
Okay. We're joined on the line right now by Miss Jordan Fighter. She's a senior in high school, spent some time driving in the mini stocks and came out of a racing family. She calls up around Oglethorpe Speedway her home, and they venture out a little bit. Driving a crate late model now at 17 years old. Jordan, is there any aspirations or any plans to maybe try to carry your racing further, or right now are you just content to be where you are doing what you're doing?
Well, right now with me going, I'm actually doing full time my second year in college instead of going to high school. So I've been really busy with that, and just having that on the weekends to do is what I've been doing for right now till I can get my schooling out of the way. Won't be doing too much further than racing every Friday and Saturday.
Got you. What are you wanting to do as far as a career outside of racing?
I'm really, really liking going into the medical field. So cool. I've been trying to get all my academic classes out of the way while doing rolling instead of going to high school. And so I'm knocking a lot of that out. And it's taking a lot of time, but as long as I'm still able to race on Friday and Saturday, I'm all right.
Yeah, that is a very honorable profession, Jordan, and I can tell you it is much needed. Whatever you decide to go into, if it's anything medical related, you'll always have a job, I promise you. We're joined right now on the line by Miss Jordan Fighter. She is a crate late model driver, 17 years old. And Brian, it seems like that these drivers, both male and female, they just get younger and younger. We just talked last week to a young lady that I think was 17 and everything. Jordan, before we let you get out of here, we want to give you an opportunity, like we do everyone, to give some love, some thanks, some exposure to the people that help you out as far as sponsorship and the people that help you out around your shop. So now's your chance to do that.
Well, I want to thank, first of all, my papa for all the work and all that money's been put into these cars. Because having running 2 cars, it's very, very busy. And I want to thank JCB for being on part of the team again this year. I want to thank Neesmith Chevrolet
for sponsoring us with a motor this past year. And just my family and friends and all the people that come out and support me each week.
Very good, very good. Well, Morgan, we do appreciate you taking some time out to join us here, and you'll be able to go back. And anyone that maybe didn't get the full conversation with Jordan, you can go back, because Dale Hall, he archives our shows and he makes it very, very easy for you. All the guests that we have on that night, he'll break it up into segments. So if you've got someone that you're really interested in hearing the interview and what they had to say, you can easily do that. Just simply go to deepdixieracing.com, and Dale will have it all broke down for you, usually by the next day, sometimes sooner than that. Jordan, we really do thank you for your time. We wish you the very best, not only in your racing career, but whichever way you decide to point your life as far as a career. And I'm very proud of you. Just to hear you talk, I know you're a bright young lady, and we really appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. God bless you. That is Miss Jordan Fighter, who is a crate late model driver. So we have back-to-back young ladies. One is 22 years old, driving a sprint car, right up in the thick of things as far as the points championship goes, is a winner. Yeah. You've got Jordan Fighter, 17 years old, that spent some time in mini stocks. And I mean, you know, when you think of mini stocks, you think of those little cars that sound like bees. But I'm going to tell you, some of the most competitive racing that I have ever seen is those little four-cylinders, man. Mm-hmm. There's usually a ton of them. Yep. Nobody gives an inch. And to be able to even, do any kind of good in that, you're doing good. But then she steps up into a crate late model, and she mentioned Neesmith. And in my mind, the racing that I saw at Cochran a few weeks back, if you are in anywhere near that Neesmith late model series in that caliber of competition, you're doing something right, because that is a big deal. And
two very well-spoken young ladies right there. They've both of them, I can just about guarantee they know what's going on with the car and everything. Yeah, they're very well-spoken, especially Morgan there. She was on fire. It just don't matter to her. She wants to race anything. Yeah.
And, one of the things that is kind of a common thread that I noticed that has carried over to this show from last week, these younger people that we're talking about, they're very polished. And you could tell that they understand what it takes to make it in racing. It's not just going out there and jumping behind the wheel and driving the wheels off the car. That's good. You got to have that. But you've got to understand that there are stepping stones, and you can't get ahead of yourself. And I love the fact this young lady, Jordan, she's actually technically age-wise a high school senior, but she's saying that she's already in her second year of college thinking of going into the medical field. So anytime you've got that kind of discipline and you've got that kind of focus, it can't help but make you a better racer on the racetrack and for your sponsors and everything else.
I taught these guys about interviewing, and I just about bet you if I interviewed them at the track, they'd be ready to go just like that. And I talked to some of these older guys, and they said, well, I'm not like the young people, and I'd like it don't matter. You never know who's watching. Watch this show, watches the shows from the weekend or anything else. It's just sometimes the way you carry yourself. A lot of these guys that avoid us, they don't even want to do an interview or something like that. And you never know who's watching, who might just say, man, I like that guy. I just like the way he clicks, the way he handles himself. And you can't never tell. You might pick up a sponsor like that.
You never can tell. I mean, you heard from Morgan. We didn't get into it deeply, but somehow or another, she caught the eye of one of the stoutest competitors on the USCS circuit, Terry Gray. That guy is a winner, man.
Terry's, he's competed on World of Outlaws and won before.
In the
70s and 80s.
Yeah, and to be able to have somebody like that with so many racers out there, I mean, I can imagine the market, for lack of a better word, is flooded. I mean, they're everywhere, but to be able to actually land a ride and be able to get that sponsorship, even to be able to do it on a local level is doing something right. But guys, we appreciate you tuning in. Hard to believe, man, we are just about done with that first hour. Our thanks again to Morgan Turpin, who is a 22-year-old racer on the United Sprint Car Series, doing real well in the points. And at one point, she was leading the points nationally. She told us they're going to be racing 2 nights at Sonoya Speedway, tomorrow night and Saturday night, the good Lord willing, if the weather will hold out. And if you've never had an opportunity to see a sprint car race live, all I can say is this: as exciting as it is to see it on TV, to actually be there, I'm telling you, it is one of the most exciting / nerve-wracking things I have ever seen. And these guys and gals are going to be mixing it up. Not sure how close they're going to be to us again, but we know that at least for now, everything holds up weather-wise. They're going to be at Sonoya Speedway tomorrow night and Saturday night. Go check them out. So our thanks to Morgan Turpin for joining us. Also, Jordan Fighter, who races around Oglethorpe and other places when she gets a chance. And a good first hour. We're going to be back after our break, and we're going to be talking to a lady who's very much a part of the racing family. Her daughter was here with us last Thursday night. She was a big hit. She was a lot of fun. Morgan Fordham, and Karen was unable to make it, but she's got a son now that's racing. Will is 16 years old, and of course she's married to one of the dirt late model legends here around our area, Jim Fordham. Man, Jim has been in the game for a long time, and you know, word has it that he may not be totally out of the game yet.
Yep.
Maybe Karen can allude to that a little bit further on. But this is our second edition of what Dale Hall labeled as the pink edition of the Deep Dixie Racing Report. We wanted to try to mix it up a little bit. We really do want to keep our shows fresh, guys. We understand that you can get in a rut and things can get, you know, boring and that sort of thing. We try to keep these guests coming. We try to bring you different perspectives. We want everybody to have a chance. There's so many people out there that deserve some exposure and deserve some love. And our goal is to try to get to every one of you, no matter if you're, you know, driving a super late model, if you're a World of Outlaw, a Sprint Cup driver, or maybe you're just a young man or a young lady trying to break in at your local track. We want to give you some love. And we also want to give some love to our sponsors. And before we take a break, I want to say thank you again to our friends right here at the Rescue Smokehouse Grill. You hear us talk about this place week in and week out. And the reason that we do is because we believe in it. We have ate their food. We have had about everything that you can get on that menu. They've got specialty items here, things that you can't get anywhere else. And as far as I know, everything I have ever ordered and anybody that has ever come and ate here, I've heard nobody complain about nothing. They always praise the service, the food, the atmosphere. They're going to be open until 10 o'clock tonight. You got plenty of time to come on out and check it out. Maybe you're picking up the kids after practice. Maybe you're rushing around. We've just about got this week in the books, and you don't feel like cooking. They're going to be open until 10 tonight. Come on by. They're on exit 75 on Interstate 75. I can tell you it's not much easier than they've got it. You get off if you're going southbound, and as soon as you get to the top of the exit ramp, literally, you take a right, and you're right in the parking lot. If you're going northbound, come across the bridge, and you have easy access to get you back on the highway. It'll be open till 10. They give you a lot of food. They're award-winning cooks, barbecue competition winners. They're on Destination America from time to time on the barbecue competition show. Sorry, I don't know the name of it, but they're on there because they're the real deal. And I'd love for you to come out and check it out for yourself. And we do appreciate Raymond and Amy allowing us to set up shop here. We've got a great place here, and we love to come out here, eat the food, and enjoy the fellowship. Also, again, a big thank you to Mike Hurd. Man, Mike has been a friend to a lot of people in racing. 5-Star Hyundai, they're on the sides of a lot of race cars, and I understand that Mike's even branching out. They have helped out tracks. Mike, he loves racing. He loves the fans, the drivers. He's done a lot behind the scenes, and Mike was the very first sponsor of the Deep Dixie Racing Report. And Mike, you know we appreciate it. They're located on Russell Parkway in Warner Robins. Award-winning service before, during, and after the sales. Out of 869 Hyundai dealerships nationwide. Mike Hurd and those folks over there in Warner Robins, our hometown, my hometown, they won, and they're always up close to the top. They service any make and model. They're going to take care of you. They've got a tremendous inventory, state-of-the-art facility over there on one of the main drags. Go check them out. That's 5-Star Hyundai of Warner Robins. Mr. Bill Cheek and Heartland EMS, thank you, Bill. I could never say thank you enough for what you do, not only for the Deep Dixie Racing Report, but for what you do. 20 years of excellent service, celebrating their 20th year in business down in Middle Georgia. They take care of us at the racetrack, not only us, but also the entire Middle Georgia area down there. We're in good hands. And again, thank you to Bill Cheek and our friends at Heartland EMS and our newest partner. Fine people, guys. Their store is very, very easy to recognize. They're located on exit 82, right off of Interstate 75. That puts them literally almost 7 miles on the money, just north of us. Once you get off of the interstate, you make a right. You hang a left on a little street called Whittle Street or Whittle Road. And when you make that left, it'll take you right up to the fine folks at Carol's Sausage and Country Store. If you've ever been to one of their stores, by the way, there are 4 locations. Let me tell you where they're at. 101 Franklin Street in Sylvester. Of course, the one that most people recognize off the side of the highway, that is on 315 Whittle Circle in Ashburn, Georgia. They've got a store in Albany, Georgia. And they've also got one on Center Street in Thomaston, Georgia. Good people. They're open 7 to 7, Monday through Saturday. If you happen to be near the one off the interstate, they've got RV parking. You can go in there and get some of the finest meats that you'll ever put in your mouth. The store is set up so cool. Everybody's nice and friendly. One of the things that I like about it, I'm not prejudiced about these things. I believe that every person has got, the right to make their own choices and their own decisions. But Hugh Hardy, Johnny Walker, and Jason Black, the folks that run Carol's Sausage and Country Store, it is Christian owned and operated. They're not open on Sunday for one reason, because they want to give everybody an opportunity to go to church. They want to do that too. And we appreciate that, man. I appreciate businesses that'll stand up and still acknowledge the good Lord. And if you get a chance to check them out, I know you won't be disappointed. You can walk in there for one thing, and I guarantee you, you'll come out with more, because it's just that good of a store. And they are our latest sponsor to join us. We appreciate all that y'all do. Brian, what do you say we take a little short time out? I got 8:03 right now. Again, thanks to those of you that have tuned in. Don't you go anywhere. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with much more with hour number 2 from the Deep Dixie Racing Report. welcome everybody back to hour number 2 of the Deep Dixie Racing Report. As always, coming to you live from the Rescue Smokehouse Grill right here on Exit 75 on Interstate 75. Our thanks to Morgan Turpin and Jordan Fighter, who joined us in hour number 1. And again, we are coming back with part 2 of the pink edition of the Deep Dixie Racing Report. And right now we are joined by a lady that has been around racing for a long, long time. She is married to a racer, and her family has been pretty much involved her entire married life. And now she has a son that's 16 years old that is breaking into the game. We're joined right now by Miss Karen Fordham. Karen, it's good to have you with us, sis.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming to be with us. Karen, right away, I just want to start by saying that we had such a positive response and a lot of feedback with your daughter, Morgan, last week. Man, what a very, very fun young lady. And she was a little pistol, and she kind of stepped in for you. I know you were unable to make it, but for those of you that may not know that, for those watching that may not know your story, just kind of give us a snapshot of talk about Jim, your husband, a little bit, and how that Will has come into the game and racing, and how long you guys have been doing it.
Oh, Jim started racing when I think he was about 18 years old. So he was just 2 years older than Will. I always thought Will would be the one to work on the race car, never to drive it. He always wanted to tinker with it. Morgan was always the one that wanted to drive. And one day he just up and said that's what he wanted to do. So Jim went and talked to Jason and Lance Floyd, and they let him use his car, and it's become his passion. I mean, he loves it, absolutely loves it.
We're joined right now by Miss Karen Fordham. Karen is the wife of Jim Fordham. She is the mother of Morgan Fordham, who was here with us last week, and she's talking about her son, young Will Fordham, that's 16 years old. And Karen, I've got to ask you the same thing that I've asked Pam Harrington. We've talked to Erica Williams. We've talked to other mothers along the way. I know that it's one thing to have your husband racing, but when you've got your child out there, that is a whole different ball game. And as best I can understand, when Will came and joined that Junior Enduro Series, he didn't come in the first couple of races. I know they were getting the car ready and things, but Will came in maybe 4 or 5 races in, and he immediately caught onto it. And I'm not just saying that because you're here and you're his mother. I would speak kindly of him anyway, but I'm telling you, he's one of these kids that every lap you can see he's getting it more. He's getting more confident. He's getting closer. And they had a three-way race. Parker and Ridge and Will out there the other night, and I honestly didn't know who was going to win that race until it was over.
It was a really good race.
Yeah, but tell us a little bit about how you cope at the racetrack when your son's out there racing.
Not very well. I'm on pins and needles. And just like when Jim used to race, I do the same thing with Will. I cannot watch the start. I cannot do it, but I'm nervous. That's my baby out there. You know, he would die if he saw me say that, but it's true. You know, but to see him talking about, you know, when he comes in off of the track, you never hear him say anything. He goes straight to Jim, and he's like, "Daddy, what did I do right? What can I do better? How could I have prevented this from happening?" You know, he's wanting to learn. And for the first time in 16 years, you know, in his eyes, his daddy actually knows something, you know. So that's been eye-opening. And it's one of the first times he's ever listened to him. So, you know, each week I'm hoping to see him grow, because he is listening. He is trying to follow his daddy's direction, but his big struggle is the pressure he feels with his daddy and how well he raced, and how many races he won at the track. It's Jim Fordham's son, and he's trying to be his own,
Right.
become his own person.
Kind of get out from under that shadow there.
Right, because it's a lot of pressure for him.
Mhm.
And, you know, and when Jim got to, and y'all know how it is in racing, when you win a lot, people begin not to like you. And at the ending of Jim's career, that was happening. And so now at the beginning of Will's career, he's picked up the people that didn't like Jim, you know, and like this weekend, he heard that, oh, he races just like his daddy. And it upset Will. And I told, you know, it's like I told Will, I said, that's the biggest compliment anybody can ever tell you, even though they meant it in a derogatory way, because your daddy was good.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
you had that potential. And so, you know, it's just a struggle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If you're just tuning in, we're joined live here at the restaurant by Miss Karen Fordham. She is the wife of Jim Fordham, and anybody that's been around Middle Georgia, around the Cochran area, I know that pretty much all these drivers kind of hit the same tracks. I'm sure he's raced at Swainsboro, East Alabama, places like that. And now their son, 16 years old, Will Fordham, has began his racing career. And when we say has began, we mean just in the past few weeks. The Junior Enduro Series is a class that Chris Martin, the owner of the racetrack, is something that he put a lot of thought into. And Chris has a son that's 11 years old, and he wanted to race. And so Chris wanted to do this right. And so far we've got a lot of response, and the racing has been outstanding. Karen, I want to change gears a little bit. As I mentioned last week, I don't know if Mr. Buddy and Miss Colleen is watching, but some of the finest people, Mr. Buddy, Miss Colleen, we love you. Thank you again for letting me come fish at your pond. That is a world-class fishery, and I'm not going to tell you where it's at because I want to keep it a secret.
I'm not going to tell you either. I love it too.
It's an awesome place, and Buddy and Colleen Williams, man, some of the finest people that you'll ever meet. But over here, Mr. Brian Williams or Brian Hester was telling me that way back in the day. Now that was on purpose. That was on purpose. You know. I'm talking about. I mean, I'm not gonna say lying Brian Williams. I ain't gonna say that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Brian Hester's who I'm talking about. And Brian grew up with this family, and when I say grew up, way back when they were small, Miss Colleen babysat him. So you guys, I'm going to kind of let you take it from here and kind of tell us what that was like. Whatever you're willing to say, go for it.
Well,
I beat him up then, and I beat him up now.
Well, I guess now is the time to say, I guess I'm sorry for all the things I did when I was little. You know, bare my heart on national TV or something like that. But Miss Colleen did keep me in line. I think there's a few bruises left after years ago. So, but anyway, no, they did. And Buddy and my dad worked together a lot on a lot of road construction. Mm-hmm. So it was just kind of weird. You know, we got away from each other through our teen years. We knew of each other, but she had, you know, married Jim, and then it was just so ironic, so weird that I built my house not far from her mom and dad, and her sister Beverly and her husband Sean. Their son and my son, Sean and Beverly's son, get in being good friends, and then Morgan and Will become good friends with Blaine, and the circle comes back around full circle again. So
right.
just kind of weird how that happens.
So Will catches the blunt from Blaine and
yes.
them, just like I used to from that one.
Yeah, they've been well known for shooting holes through the shop with a gun. We still don't have the straight story on all that, how that happened. There's dents in the wall from tools being slung at each other. So it's kind of interesting when them two are around.
I'm going to tell you something. That is life in the country. And without giving you a longitude and a latitude, when I tell you this is country, it is country. But on the same note, like I told Morgan last week when she was here, your parents' place.
Oh,
That
wow.
is the most beautiful place.
It is.
I'm telling you, if I had the money to buy any piece of property in this world, that would be what I wanted. I would love to have that, especially when those fields are nice and green, those rolling hills and that pond. Awesome. We're joined right now in the restaurant live by Miss Karen Fordham. Her son Will Fordham is one of our junior enduro drivers. She's also the wife of Mr. Jim Fordham, and Jim has kind of slowed down a little bit. Karen, he's had a little bit of health problems here and there, and I had an opportunity to see Jim. I guess it was last year. He came up to the tower. We talked a little bit. Didn't have a lot of time, but give us a quick update on how Jim's doing.
Well, this is. He wound up having to go back to the Mayo Clinic last Thursday. We thought it was going to be a checkup because he has to have another cardioversion. Well, they ended up keeping him, and he's going to have to go back and have an ablation done, and it'll be the final one he can have. So we pray that when he has this done, that it'll last and his heart will be fine. But he begged the doctors to let him come home Saturday. He said, "I've got to be at that track before Will hits that track." So they let him come home, and we were 80 all the way. I mean, we come in on two wheels so he could see his baby boy on that track.
Right. Well,
but he's doing good. But I have to tell you though, I caught him. He was on the internet, and I thought he was looking. He'd been talking about getting Will another race car. So I got to looking, and I was like, I leaned over there. I said, isn't that like a late model? And he said, yeah. I said, Will's not going to a late model. I said, he's just junior enduro. He's not ready for that. He said, well, it's not for him. And I'm thinking, oh, here we go again. One more reason Morgan Fordham is going to be mad.
Morgan kind of let that out of the bag last week a little bit. I mean, just a little bit. And she's like, I heard there might be. But, I don't doubt it a bit. But at the same time, I can understand because, I mean, Jim has always been pretty much at the top of his game.
Yeah. And
then, you get sidelined with health issues and things like that. And, of course, you've got to kind of shift your focus. But, if he's – what I'm trying to say is this. If Jim decided to do it, I know that he could come back and do it at the same level that he always did. I know he could. I have no doubt.
During his break, was it 3 years ago? Somebody loaned him a ride, I think, and he run a crate race over there, and I think he started fourth.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
Run real good.
And the track is so close to home when he couldn't race. I mean, he couldn't even go outside because he could hear it, and he just said, "I can't take it." I mean, that's his passion. Racing that's his passion. So I'm glad to see Will picking that up too. And Morgan says that when she gets through with nursing school and gets her job, she's buying her own race car so that nobody can call her a second generation driver. She is a self-made driver. Did I get that right, Morgan?
All right.
She is going to be a self-made race car driver.
We're joined live by Miss Karen Fordham, and we really do appreciate Karen coming and being with us. Last week, I know that she wanted to come, and as she just mentioned, what was thought to be just a quick checkup, kind of in and out thing, a routine thing, ended up being an overnight stay, and it's all ended up good. So thank the Lord for that. But Karen, before we let you get out of here, I wanted to ask you, there was actually a couple questions here.
I got to know about this. She has talked about that several times.
Yeah, and the question,
Superstitions.
the question is this: superstitions. Do you have any?
I do not. Jim Fordham does. He was racing one night in Cordele, and I love boiled peanuts. Well, he had come in with a flat tire. His guys changed the tire. He went back out. He got back to the front. Next thing you know, the tire just comes flying off. Well, they tow him in, and he sees me eating boiled peanuts. Oh my, it was my fault that tire came off because I was eating boiled peanuts.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, Saturday night, Now, this has nothing to do with him in a race car. This is Will. So Saturday night, everybody on the trailer is eating peanuts. Okay? Not one word. I said, y'all better not let Jim see y'all eating peanuts. I said, that's his thing. You don't eat peanuts. I get one peanut. And the next thing I know, he is off of that bench coming to the end of that race car. You put that peanut down. Put the peanut down. Now you tell me how a farmer who grows peanuts and paid for his race car with peanuts will not let you eat peanuts on a race car trailer.
Definitely a conflict of interest there. And Jim, I don't have a dog in this fight, dude, but I'm telling you, listen, you live in, I mean, how can you not have a peanut? But anyway,
peanuts were grown on that in the field where that racetrack was
right?
built.
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
And and you cannot wear the color green. I know when we were first started dating, I had on a green shirt. Well, he stops by another store, and I had to get a different color shirt before we go to Cordell.
Oh man,
that's racing for you, man. If you're just tuning in, we're joined live by Miss Karen Fordham, and I tell you what, this is a great family, and you can see, they have a lot of fun. It's a family affair. Morgan was with us last week, and very, very entertaining young lady, and but a smart young lady. And Will Fordham, 16 years old, he has started racing in what is a new class, latest addition to our program. It's called the Junior Enduro Division. And what that is it is a pure beginner rookie class. This is not something that, drivers with more experience or any experience can come down and swipe the low-hanging fruit. It ain't that at all. Matter of fact, they have went to great pains to make sure that this does stay as a pure beginner rookie class. And, Karen, before I let you go, I know that each one of the mothers that I've talked to, like Pam Harrington was talking about with Will, she just has to be alone. I mean, there's just certain things now. When you watch Will race, and I know it's still early on, and I would guess he's probably got 4 or 5 races under his belt. What is it at the track as far as when it's time for him to come up and everything? What do you do? Do you go to be by yourself? Do you go to the highest point on the track you can see the best? Are you filming with a phone or a camera? What are you doing?
I am on top of the trailer, videoing him. I'm between the stands and then the trailer, videoing everything from the time he's walking to get in the car to till the end. So yeah,
I think and Buddy and Colleen's been coming too.
Yeah,
so, they have.
And they sit in the big stands right there at the bottom. And
well, if next time that Mr. Buddy and him come, if they're going to be there Saturday night, shoot me a text or something. Let me know.
Yeah.
I definitely want to come speak to them. By the way, for those of you that are tuning in that have a child that is racing in the Junior Enduro, every single Saturday, we've done this for about the last 3 years. I have a little segment called Behind the Wheel. I do driver interviews, and we appreciate everybody that's done that. It helps to fill in the time, and we learn a lot. Last week, Keith Edge was my driver interview. We were able to talk about Johnny Tribble. It's not always about racing, but this coming Saturday, the Lord willing, about the same time we always do it, which is around 6:30 or so. We try to do it just before the drivers' meeting. I am going to be interviewing all of the Junior Enduro drivers, and I did not specify names because I know that some of them race some weeks and can't make it the other weeks. But if we have any parents, grandparents, or somebody that's connected with those Junior Enduro drivers, even if you're not racing, even if you're not bringing your car to run, I encourage you to come. I would love for you to join us, and we're just going to talk to these young men and young women, and they're between the ages of 11 and 16, and we're going to get their thoughts about racing, and we appreciate you coming in, Karen. You made the run from up there around Middle Georgia, and we really do appreciate you taking time to come down here, and I'm sure that we'll do it again real soon. And ladies and gentlemen, if you ever do get an opportunity to see this lady, her husband Jim, her parents Colleen and Buddy Williams, Will, or their daughter Morgan, say hello to them. They're great people. They'd love to meet you. And Karen, thank you very much. We sure do appreciate it. Miss Karen Fordham, all the way from Middle Georgia, joining us on the Deep Dixie Racing Report. Brian, right now we are about on the white flag lap, I guess we can call it that.
Yep.
And I tell you what, let's do, Dale. We're pretty much on schedule, believe it or not. And I think that we're going to phone in. And Brian, I'm going to ask you to stay very close by on this one. I am familiar with the Nasworthy folks, the racers. And by the way, some excellent racers. I mean, some good people. And we're going to try to see if we can get a hold of Miss Libby Nasworthy. And we want to get her thoughts, again, being connected with a racing family.
Her dad raced, brother raced, uncles.
Mhm.
Gregory was her dad and also.
Wow.
Long history.
A huge
Hunter's
history.
mom, Hunter's mom.
Okay. I got you.
Hello?
Libby, Pastor Todd Sharon with Deep Dixie Racing Report. How are you?
Hey, Todd. I'm good. Thank you.
Oh, it's so good to hear your voice, Libby. We're glad that you could join us. And Brian and I were just talking. You have even more of a connection and even more of a history than I was even aware of. I know Mr. Ariel Gregory, your father,
Yep.
Hunter Peacock, your son.
Yep.
We've also got the Nasworthy name there that's thrown into this. You've pretty much been involved in racing for most of your adult life, and
Since birth, really.
okay, since birth.
Yeah.
Give us a snapshot of some of your earliest memories about racing. I'm guessing that would have to be regarding your dad, the late Mr. Ariel Gregory.
Yeah, actually, Mike's dad and my dad were rivals and sort of enemies in a little bit. And sort of odd that I ended up with him, but yeah, I mean, my mom raced, my stepmom at the time raced. So, I mean, from early on, I think my mom might even been pregnant early with one of the brothers, but or me. But yeah, early. I mean, you know, when they bring you and put you on a pallet on the bleachers, or you end up coming in a station wagon, or you know, way back.
Yeah.
Didn't have big haulers then and all that.
That was back in the day. If you're just joining us right now, appreciate you tuning in. This is part 2 of the pink edition of the Deep Dixie Racing Report. Our thanks to all of the ladies that have joined us, whether they're drivers, wives, mothers, or whatever the case may be. And we're joined on the line right now by Miss Libby Nasworthy. And Libby has a wealth of history. And Libby, I've got to ask you, back in the day when you first married and you guys would have family functions and everybody was together, do you have any kind of memories or any kind of stories that you could share with us about that around the Thanksgiving table, around Christmas or whatever?
Well, I mean, I think my dad's the best. He thinks his dad's the best. You know how that goes. But and they were very much rivals. But I don't know. It still goes on. We just don't push it too much. You know, it still goes on even in our immediate family. So, you know, we're all competitive, and I'm competitive, and I love it as much as they do. So it makes it a little touchy at times, you know. But Mike's really good-natured, and my dad loved him. My dad and him were very close. So sometimes I told him I think my dad loved him more than me. But he's, you know, they just had a lot in common. Yeah. So, and respected each other and all that. So. Right.
You know, Libby, one of the things that I remember, and this was a highlight, Brian, you probably remember, Karen, you may remember, a few years back when we were running that Ariel Gregory Memorial Race, Hunter won that race, and I actually had the privilege of interviewing him after the race. I'm not sure how many years ago that was, maybe 4 or 5 years back. And we talked to a lot of mothers, of course, Karen Fordham here. and I know you know all of the mothers and the wives in our racing family, Pam Harrington, Erica Williams,
Yep.
the list
Yep.
goes on and on and on. What was your first experiences like when Hunter began racing?
Well, all along, my dad, from the very beginning, it was a family thing. He did not leave us at home. So, you know, we were right there in the shop. So I told him a little grease rag in my back pocket. But it's just always been a family thing with us. And there's, you know, in our and never scared. Everybody's always like, "Are you scared? Are you scared?" No, never scared. But you know, just like Tam and the others, you just want your child to do well. You know, that's the whole thing. Is you know how hard they've worked all week on that stuff, and Hunter's always been made from the very beginning to here, we may pay for it, but you're going to work on it. We're not going to turn the wrenches, and we're not going to wash it, or, you know, if you can't do that, you can't race.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the biggest thing is just proud. I'm proud of him. I'm real, you know. But and you know, outside people look at racing, you know, and there's some cases that it is rough and rednecky and all this, but it built a lot of pride. You know, with kids, they need something to do. We have been with our kids probably every weekend of their life, just about. They had to give up ball, and my daughter did play baseball and run track. She actually raced go-kart for a while and got a trophy every time she raced, but she played from early on baseball, softball, and did really well. And so she got to dabble in it, but she had to pick which sport she wanted to do. So, and the boys have always, I mean, that's been our life.
Right.
I mean, I didn't date Harley. I went to the races with my daddy, you know.
Right.
So it's always been a family thing, and very proud. It builds a lot of pride in kids, and they need that, you know.
Right, right. We're joined right now on the line by Miss Libby Nasworthy, and Libby kind of recounting her life as being a part of the racing family. And want to kind of shift gears here a little bit, Libby. We see Mike race from time to time with us at Cochran, and I usually see Mike, you know, several times a year, be it at one of the big races in Alabama and things like that. And again, this is not to say, you know, this because I'm talking to you, but Mike Nasworthy, man, one of the toughest competitors. I mean, he is a grinder out there, and Mike always shows up with a fast race car. How would you kind of describe Mike's racing now that, you know, there's so many other things that pull at your time with Hunter and things like that? Mike has kind of slowed down a little bit with this racing, but how would you describe that? Is he still in the game? I mean,
oh yeah, it's not. If the money was clearly there, I mean, you got to work, and there's bills that have to be paid and all. Mm-hmm. But Mike would race every day. I mean, he loves it, and it's going to be very hard for him to give up when he has to give it up. And a lot of people just see him today, but he was the man. I mean, he used to be no better, and he still has the reflexes and the kahunas to go in there deeper and further than anybody else. He's good. So, yeah. And a lot of people don't know him in the past as much as what he accomplished.
Right.
You know, they're just seeing the now. But yeah, I mean, you have to pick, you know, whether you're going to pay your bills or if you're going to race, you know, and there's a lot of times just like everybody else working hard and owning a business, there's times when you've got to slow it down and work on the business stuff. So, right. But if it was up to him, he would race every day.
Yeah, yeah. We're joined on the line by Miss Libby Nasworthy, and Libby, I can attest to that. The times that I have seen Mike race, I'm trying to recollect in the last probably half a dozen times that I've seen Mike over the last several years. I'm hard pressed to remember a time that Mike didn't start on the front row. He's always up toward the front and always grinding, and one of the slickest race cars ever. There's not a whole lot on that car. A really black, nice, shiny black car with a 0 on it, and you recognize that. That has become an iconic number, and you just know that's who that is. But Libby, before we let you get out of here, I know that that in the racing game there's good times, there's bad times, and I know that in our racing family, at least around Middle Georgia, we have been hit extremely hard with a lot of loss lately. I mean, I don't want to start naming names off, but I know just this year we have lost several members of our racing family, and I hear people tell me that every time they come to the racetrack, and rightfully so. I know that I thought about that the first time I came after Will Thompson passed away, after Johnny passed away. It just brings back a flood of memories, and I know that Mr. Gregory, he was a beloved man, and we for years ran the R.L. Gregory Memorial Race down there. What does it feel like as a daughter, as a family member? Is there a way that you can kind of put into words sometimes the emotions that you feel when you're at the track, but having so many memories, how your life got started? You met your husband there, pretty much all you've known. Can you describe to us what that feels like on any given night?
Yeah, there's a lot of emotions. That's just like in NASCAR or anything. A lot of people do not realize how much you have given and how much you put into that. When you really, there's some people that just drive and they show up at the racetrack. Well, these boys don't. And that's just like my daddy was everybody's friend. And he really, he loved Little Will. He knew Little Will Harrington since he was teeny tiny, and he'd give him a quarter, give him a sucker, Ricky Culpepper. He didn't get to see Hunter shine. He was all but there. And same thing with Will, but Ricky, I think, had started running, but Diddy just took interest in there was no selfishness with it. He just saw a lot in these boys, and he loved racing too. It's real emotional. Because that's been our whole life. And that's like Hunter. That's what he does 7 days a week. And then, for somebody to go in there and tear up his stuff, and it's tough at times. And he's been taught to be a sportsman. You can't go off in there and just knock somebody because you're upset about it. You need to handle yourself. And that's how he's been taught, to drive clean.
Libby, how old is Hunter? How old is Hunter?
He's now 27, going on 21.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
He, for those of you that have been around the racetrack and you saw Hunter Peacock race, the list can go on and on and on, man. You've got Pearson Lee Williams, you got Ricky Culpepper, Will Harrington, you got Blake Smith, Jordy Nipper.
Jordy and Hunter's been best friends since they were little.
Right.
Went to high school together, and they're very close.
Yeah, and Libby will tell you, Hunter and Jordy was pretty daggum good in go-kart racing. When I first saw Hunter race a go-kart, and that's where I came from. I first time I saw him on track, I was just like, he got it.
Yeah.
He got it.
And Mike's always said he put up Hunter against anybody. Bloomquist, anybody as far as his ability, and you just don't usually shake him. It don't matter who's behind him. He focuses on his race, and that's just what he's been taught.
Right.
And his mother will get his behind if I believe in clean racing. I do not believe rubbing is racing. I believe that you don't move somebody. If you cannot get by them without knocking them out of the way, it's not your day. and you better be able to hold your head up at the end of the night, and you didn't knock somebody out. So, I mean, I'll be the first one to get him before anybody else. Right. But he was a national champion on dirt and asphalt, on go-kart. But that was the whole thing. We started local. You know, you get a lot of crap with local, so you move them on up somewhere that's sanctioned a little better. And then you keep getting the competition tougher. That's the only way they're going to get better. So you.
Well, I can tell you, man, Hunter Peacock, every time that Hunter shows up at a race, he's going to be one of the threats. I mean, and that's no joke. And everything you're saying, I mean, it's fearless. He's smooth, and you can see when the car is maybe not quite like he would want it to handle. Hunter's one of these guys, and I watched that, Libby, as the announcer. You can see that he'll experiment with different lines. And I have seen Hunter literally run half a race and check out, 5 different entries into the corner until he'll finally pull the trigger and get by. And when he gets by, he'll usually pull, by the end of the race, a straightaway. But, Libby,
he just won't give up. That's the thing. He doesn't give up at all.
Right. Well, we really do appreciate you taking time to join us tonight. And, we wanted to do this for our ladies, because I'm going to tell you something. When it comes to the racing game, and I'm not taking anything away from soccer moms, football, baseball, the stick and ball sports, I know we've got a lot of dedicated people. You would be hard pressed to find any sport where it's more of a family affair.
Right.
And the ladies that are part of the racing community, they're very much a part of the racing community. They're not just out there, some ditzy somebody that don't know what's going on, don't know. They are tuned in, they're dialed in, they're educated.
Well, me and Hunter raced for 2 years by ourselves. We went with Nee Smith and the NDRA series, and he won the NDRA series. We went, Libby and Hunter, that was it. I was the jack person, I was the tire changer. I loved it. And a lot of people look at me as a woman, and I have my hair done and I have makeup on, but I get right down in the dirt. And I loved it. So, there's a lot of moms like that, that, we can be women, but we can be tomboys too, but I'll race right now. I'll get in a go-kart and race right now. It just, I'm as competitive as they are. So I love it.
That's what it takes. Well, Libby, we sure appreciate you joining us, and everybody in your family. We've watched them race over the years, and we've watched them do well. And please give our regards to Mike and Hunter and everyone else, and tell them we sure do appreciate it, and our best to all of you, not only throughout the rest of this year, but on into the future. God bless you, and thanks again for spending some time. That's Miss Libby Nasworthy, and man, it has been a great night. We have had the opportunity to talk to several of our female racing family members. It's incredible how everything unfolds. And, one of the things that I've learned throughout the last couple of weeks doing the pink edition of the Deep Dixie Racing Report, George Jones and I can't think of who it was now that they sung the song, I Was Country When Country Wasn't Cool. And some of these ladies back in racing, they were racing when racing wasn't cool for a lady to be out there mixing it up. And, I think a lot of times we see the new generation come on, and I love it, by the way, the diversity. We've talked to a young lady tonight that is third in points, and just a few weeks ago was leading the points in a national touring sprint car series that is looking to move up through some type of a diversity program. And so it's good to remind everybody we appreciate that and we recognize that. And with social media, one of these right here, man, you can do pretty much anything that you need to do. But there were people back in the day, you heard Libby say, we were out there, my mother raced, her mother raced, and long before the new generation that we see now, there were ladies that were mixing it up back then. And, thinking in NASCAR, for years, the only lady's name that I ever remember was Janet Guthrie.
Yeah.
That's all I remember. And you only heard a little bit about her, but now, not unusual to see somebody that is really out there succeeding well. And it has been it's been a fun couple of shows, and we want to say thank you to all of you that have called in, all of you that have made your way out to the Rescue Smokehouse Grill, the restaurant, to be here live. Many of you have waited your turn to come on. You've actually stayed afterward to support the other people, and we appreciate that. And guys, if you ever get an opportunity to follow or to go watch any of these young ladies race, or if you're at the racetrack and some of the mothers and wives and folks that we've visited with, go up and introduce yourself and meet them. Tell them that you enjoyed their interview or you enjoyed what they had to say, because there's been a lot of perspective. And one thing I take away from it, mamas are going to be protective of their children, but the overwhelming majority of every single mother that I have talked to and you've talked to, and you guys have seen it, they have taught their kids respect.
Yeah.
And when you see the drivers that are out there driving, you don't see dirty driving among these boys. You don't see it.
No, I don't. And, and I've had to race with some of the younger guys, when I had my crate car, and I've raced in different places, and I can't remember where it was. I won't say in Albany, it might be, and I can't remember, but I got into somebody pretty good and doored them out. And somebody was coming down about a trailer, and I was trying to get out of the car, and he said, "Oh, so-and-so's daddy's going to be down here in a minute, probably say something to you." And I said, "I ain't worried about his daddy, I'm worried about the mama."
I got you. I got you.
But I like to see that. I love to see the mother factor in it. My mom was always kind of she went, but she was very quiet and all. So I like to see the spark in them.
Right.
Right. Get the fire going.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's a little bit before 9, but it's been a great show tonight. And again, just a couple of things we want to remind you of. Kevin Swindell, not exactly sure of his condition. Obviously, he's been injured, and we don't want to make it something more than it is. He's been about a week now, and they've been treating him. And obviously, there has been some injuries to his back and to his spine. But just keep him in prayer.
Yeah.
Those of you that are near a racetrack, go and support your local track. You never know what the weather's going to do here in Georgia. Right now, it's saying 50% for us. And
my theory on that is, you want to hear it?
Yeah,
I'd rather if it's gone, it rained out, than stayed home and it didn't.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. But there's going to be somebody, I'm sure, that you'll be able to go and watch. And don't forget, man, a big show coming up on tomorrow night and Saturday up at Sonoya.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good time, guys. They're going to have racing in other classes as well. And you're going to get a chance to look at some sprint car racing. That's not something that we get a whole lot of here.
And that's the full meal deal sprint cars, folks. I know sometimes we see the ones with motorcycle. And this is big sprints.
They got the mini sprints there too.
Oh, they got
Oh,
mini
okay.
sprints? Okay, well, you get
bonus action.
Bonus action.
And I'm going to tell you something. It is worth the drive just to see the mini sprints.
Yeah.
If you've ever watched them race, don't take nothing away from them.
No, they fly.
And they're going to have a supporting program as well. So if you get an opportunity to go, a lot of times we understand that you don't want to take the night you would go to your local track. We get that.
Yeah.
But there's really not a whole lot going on Friday night that I know of. So if you do get an opportunity to run up to Sonoya, it's going to be a good time. And you know what? I'm actually strongly considering it.
Yeah, they'll be blistering fast.
Oh, yeah.
Dale, I think they're in like the 14-second range up there, late model. So you probably figure dropping the 12s.
Oh, yeah.
More likely, yeah.
It's going to be a good time, guys.
Yeah.
If you get a chance to go there, remember our friend Daryl Corson, folks down at Golden Isle Speedway down in Brunswick. They're going to try to get their show in. They adjusted a little bit. The Neesmith late models are not going to be a part of that show, but they're going to be giving us more information about that.
I think they are running some late model races down there.
Yeah,
too.
Right.
Regular late model.
It's just not the touring, the
I
Neesmiths.
want to say they're paying 2, but
Okay.
I don't hold me. Yeah, they're paying 2.
So if you'll keep up with that, you can visit them on their website. And I tell you, Daryl Corson, a visionary, has been on this show many times. He always keeps a lot going on down there. And then, you know, of course, we've got the other tracks. We don't want to leave anybody out. Wherever you're at, try to see if you can make it. We're going to wrap things up here tonight. Again, our thanks to Raymond and Amy Poor here at the Rescue Smokehouse Grill. Guys, you've still got an hour to come out here and eat. They've got really good food. Really, I'm serious. We're not just trying to do a commercial when our heart's not in it. They've got great food. It's a good atmosphere here. You can come as you are. If you're dressed up, that's fine. If you're coming straight from work or from the ball field, that's fine. They're going to take care of you. Good food. They give you plenty of it, and it's very reasonable, very affordable. They'll take good care of you. So come check it out. They'll be open till 10 tonight. And, of course, again, our sponsors, Mike Hurt and our friends at 5-Star Hyundai in Warner Robins, not just 5-Star Hyundai, but the entire 5-Star family of dealerships. They help us out on the Deep Dixie Racing Report. We appreciate that. Mike has been an incredible blessing to so many people. Mike, we thank you. Bill Cheek and our friends at Heartland EMS genuinely appreciate your support. And all of our friends at Carol Sausage and Country Store, man, you got to go check it out. They've got 4 locations. Open 7 to 7 Monday through Saturday. They are closed on Sunday, and there's no secret about it. They're closed because they want to honor God, go to church, and allow their employees the opportunity to go to church if that's what they'd like to do. Christian owned and operated, and Mr. Hugh Hardy Jr., Johnny Walker, and Jason Black, the folks that I have met and talked to as a part of it. We thank you for your sponsorship. Go and do business with these people if you can. We would not promote them if they weren't real. That's one thing we don't want to do. We don't want to just go out and chase a bunch of sponsors if we don't believe in them, if we don't support what they're doing. You know, we would kindly and respectfully decline to have you. But I've met these people personally, and I know they're going to take care of you. I wouldn't be afraid to send my wife or my mother to any of these people. I know they're good people, and they'll treat you with respect as well. All right, Brian, we're going to shut this thing down.
Yep.
Same way that we started it off, we're going to shut it down, and that is with prayer. And, guys, each and every week, I try to leave you with just something to think about. There's a lot going on in our world. It is. We've got the beginning rumblings of the next president of our country. We've already had one presidential debate. There's a lot of things going on all over the world. Our world has never been more dangerous than it is right now. You don't have to take my word for it. Just simply look at the nightly news, and within moments you'll see stuff flaring up all over the world. And I've never been one to try to scare people. Brian, I believe faith saves more people than fear. I really do.
It does.
And but I'll tell you this, I do believe in my heart that time is short, and I never ever want to close this show out without praying. And in my prayer, I always pray that if there's somebody that's not saved, that you would just bow your knee. And guys, it's just as simple as that. You ain't got to be good to get saved. As a matter of fact, that's why we have God, because we are not good, even on our best day. And if your heart and your mind's been thinking about that stuff, let me encourage you. Best thing you'll ever do, I promise you. Best decision you'll ever make. And hopefully through this show, we can spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, and it'll find a hungry heart out there somewhere. So we're going to shut it down right now with a word of prayer. Wherever you're at, if you would, please bow your head and pray along with me. Father, once again, we come to you in the name of Jesus, the only name under heaven given among men, whereby we must be saved. We are so grateful that you blessed us to be able to live in a country where we can talk about racing, we can go to the races, we can do a show about the races, and Lord, we just thank you that you allowed us to do that. I thank you for every member of our racing family. It truly is a tight-knit group, and Lord, we lift up Kevin Swindell. Whatever this young man's injuries are, I just pray that he will fully recover from them. I know that these 2 children that were hurt at Limestone or whatever that place is called on the go-karts, I pray that you will just heal their bodies, Lord. Let them recover. And we pray for every one of our racers, every one of our spectators and fans that are going to be going out all over the country, especially here in our state of Georgia. A lot of people planning on racing. We just ask that you give everybody a safe trip to and from the track they go to. And Lord, while they're running, I pray that you will just watch over all of them. And Lord, we just ask that no one get hurt or injured. And when it's all said and done, they can go home whole and in one piece, Lord. And our servicemen and women, we pray for them. We thank you for them. We pray for their parents and their wives, their husbands, their children, their brothers and sisters, people that deeply miss them tonight and worry for them and have concern for them. We pray for all of these people. We ask that you bring them home safely, bring them home soon. And Lord, lastly, anybody, no matter who it is, no matter how far they may feel they're away from you, Lord, they're as close as the mention of your name. And Lord, you'll be right there. And I pray that if there's anybody that's not saved, that you will deal with their heart, draw them close, Lord. Let them know that they are cared for, that they are loved. And just continue to bless us and have mercy on all of us. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, folks, that's going to do it for another episode of the Deep Dixie Racing Report. Again, our thanks to Morgan Turpin, Jordan Fighter, Karen Fordham, and Miss Libby Nasworthy, as well as our guest that joined us last Thursday night. Lord willing, we'll be doing it all over again next Thursday, same time, from 7 until 9 o'clock. Hopefully you can tune in and be a part of it again. Thanks to Raymond and Amy Poor. Thanks to all of our sponsors on behalf of our producer, Mr. Dale Hall, and my good friend and colleague, Mr. Brian Hester, Pastor Todd Sharon, saying God bless you. Have a great, great weekend. We'll see you next time on the Deep Dixie Racing Report. Good night.